Okay. Hi, my name is Daniel, and today I'm going to set up NeoVim as my new editor. So I guess I'll start with my background with my relationship with Vim. I started using Vim very early on, around like 2002, 2003, sometime around that. But I would say I never became like an expert in Vim. By that I mean, I've never made any serious attempt at making a plugin. For example, I know of a lot of settings, Vim settings, but I've never actually learned the Vim script language well. The reason I think for that is Vim is so good that when you use it, it kind of just disappears. It's the trait of a good software is it goes away when you actually want to do the things you want to accomplish with it. Um, Perhaps a analogy we can make is like a video game where if it's really good, the control, the way you interact with the video game, kind of just disappears, and you can just enjoy the world, the setting, the plot, or the mechanics of the game instead of interacting with the software on any conscious level, because you get used to control really quickly. And we'll see later that I think Vim has a lot of similarities, other similarities with the video game as well. But anyways, yeah. So I'm today I'm going to set up Vim from scratch. So I, even though I have used Vim for like a decade and a half, my setting is actually relatively simple. Maybe I can just start by showing you. So I have a bunch of plugins, and towards the end, it's less than 250 lines of settings, and this is all in my dot file repo. So uh, so they're all in here. If you want to look at it yourself, but I kind of just accumulated the settings over the years. Let's see, the oldest commit in this repo, I don't know if this is the best way to look at it, 2014. So 2014, I decided to put all my dot files in a repo, and you can see at the time my Vim setting is even smaller, right? It's 100 lines. So things have changed a lot in the last few years, I suppose. But the thing I want to address with setting up a new Vim also is the fact that is kind of that these settings are kind of just when you can see like a timeline almost. When as I added more things, more plugins, I kind of just appended more settings into this file, and over time it's kind of arbitrary and random, and there's some attempts of grouping things. For example, the leader key bindings are sort of grouped together as I added more stuff. However, my goal for NeoVim is 1, start from scratch. 2, I'm going to do my best to organize the settings. I'm gonna minimize it. So I could just symlink this file, and mostly it works. But I want to get away with as little customization as possible while satisfy my years of habits, I guess, the muscle memory. What else should I say before I actually start? I guess yeah, I forgot, but Yeah, I guess I should say one more point with in regards to my relationship with Vim, which is every, I would say, 6 to 9 months, I'll get this itch to look around and see is there anything better um, than just the Vim setup I have. And if you do the math, from 2003 till today, that's a lot of times when I got curious or impatient or whatever with Vim, and so I've used Emacs. I've used uh, I can't even remember what are the things I tried to use instead of Vim early on, because things like VS Code or I guess TextMate or whatever. As they come along, I always check them out, and NeoVim is not different. I've tried NeoVim before. Tried the built-in terminal at some point. I believe my Vim settings even has had NeoVim specific settings for key bindings for the built-in terminal and whatever. But I'm not going to rely on any of that. I'm just going to, like I said, start from scratch. Okay. So true to my promise, I'm gonna start by removing whatever existing NeoVim settings I already have. So let's go here. Wait, where is it? It's here, right? Yeah, I won't even look at it. I believe there's another folder. Local, share. Yep. Okay, so as you can see, we really are going to start from scratch. And to make it even more explicit, I'm just going to start by a symlink from my dot file. So well, I'll just save it. Let's hope this works. Code dot file. Okay, so if I launch Vim now, NeoVim, how can I prove that that has an effect? Wait, something doesn't seem right. Does this matter? Broken symbolic link. Okay. What if it's full paths? Okay. All right. We'll be looking at my Vim profile a lot, but for now, I just want to pick some simple things that I can use to verify this file init.vim has any effect. How about anything really? Yeah, how about just link for this? No. Yep, so it's working. All right. Start from scratch. Okay. So I literally have an empty file, and this is our starting point. I guess I should state my goal. I work with Swift as my day job, so I'm going to, recently, actually, surprisingly, even though I've used Vim for a number of years, I only recently started to use any kind of autocomplete. And my goal today is going to use Swift as a target to set up the infrastructure for autocompletion. And I'm going to use LSP, as you probably saw in the title. And on top of that, I have my own comfortable set of key bindings that for a number of plugins that I'm going to also aim for. Yeah, I guess where should we start? How about wait, this is Vim and this is NeoVim. Okay. All right, I'm going to use one of my projects as a test, right? So if I open some Swift file in this project with Vim, this is kind of what I get. So you notice there's autocomplete there. I can kind of tab through them and shift tab or command N, control N, and get the stuff. But NeoVim does a pretty good job as well. Actually, in that sense, I don't really need the NeoVim, but NeoVim has this virtual text feature that I really like. So yeah, I guess one of the first things I probably should do is to set up the package manager. So I'm going to use Vim plug. You probably have noticed I've not been using Vim plug at all. I've been using din, I guess is how you say it, din. It's pretty good in that it's very manual. It kind of, for example, if you want to update your packages with this package manager, you literally call a function. So that in that way, it feels like there's less magic. So I've been pretty happy with it, but part of this exercise is to have some fun. So I'm going to try out new things, and this package manager has been highly recommended. So that's why I want to try it out. We can follow these instructions, and looks like it wants me to add this file here. With Vim though, with NeoVim, it's going to download the file in the shared site. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to include instructions here. Use vim plug as plugin manager to include a link here. You'll notice I'm using NeoVim itself. You know, why not, right? Even though I already missed some things. But right away you notice there's syntax highlighting, so that's pretty nice, right? That's the default, sensible default settings we kind of are benefiting from. All right, so I'm gonna use this link because I did not include for say Markdown plugin or even say syntax on or anything like that. But this is clearly syntax awareness for Markdown. Oh, right. That was not all of it. I also want to actually include the setup instruction here. We just, you know, download a random file and put it on your file system, and every time you edit any other file, you'll run code from it. What could go wrong? Sign me up. All right. So I'm going to actually run this. I suppose I'll do this. Okay, so we download that file and okay, I'll start from here. Maybe I don't need this much screen for my terminal. All right. I suppose the last step of this setup is to alias Vim as NeoVim, because I habitually type Vim so habitually. All right, so we're gonna set up this call plug begin. Well, no. It's local share NeoVim plugged. Okay, begin the section by doing this. List the plugins and then call plug end. So calling this will update this. All right, I'll also put in my documentation for everything. So it does this for us, even though it's looking like we don't really need it with the NeoVim. Okay, so we have this. Perhaps we can. All right, there's no error, so that's a good sign. Yeah, let's just install a plugin and try it out. How about Nerd Tree? I use Nerd Tree for I use Nerd Tree for just tree browsing for file system. And apparently the syntax you need to do is plug. Hi, Clipboard. What made me decide to use NeoVim instead of Vim? I kind of told the story earlier, but I guess I can explain again. I've been using Vim for since like 2003, but I just have this itch of, the grass is always greener, right? Every now and then, I would say on average 6 to 9 months, I would look around and see how the landscape of editors changes. I always feel like, maybe I can improve my workflow. Apparently, obviously, a number of years later, I'm still using Vim. This is just yet another burst of my curiosity. I actually have switched to NeoVim and Emacs for a number of times. This is just another one of those times. We'll see how long this lasts. The specific reason, though, is I recently tried out NeoVim and tried out LSP, and I realized that with this first feature of NeoVim called virtual text, it actually is super nice, where you can, as you type, if you enable LSP, you will see the error from whatever compiler or interpreter that floating right after the line you are working on, and it's updating in real time. That's a very close approximation to the IDE I work daily, Xcode. So that was very nice, I guess. So that's what made me to. That's the direct reason I'm checking out NeoVim again. But I'm not totally new to NeoVim, I guess. All right. So we add this. Do I need a comma or anything? Nope. Nice. And then I call plug, install. No plugin to install. How about I do this and then plug, install. Nice. Okay, so without my key bindings, I'm kind of very crippled here. How do I even use nerd tree without? Do I do this? Okay. Yeah, so this is nerd tree. It's like your Finder or whatever you want to call it, file browser. I forget what it's called on Windows, but can drill down and open files like this. Okay, so that kind of proves that the plugin manager is working. I think the most urgent key binding I need is this. Hold on. Believe it or not. Yeah, so because whenever I want to quit Vim, I actually sometimes don't have enough time between typing the colon and the W to let go of the shift key. So I often type this W key. Wait. Well, would that work though? Did that ever work? Yeah, it worked. So it's kind of crazy. I need to reevaluate this. So whenever I type a W, if I quickly type something else, we will transform the W into a lowercase w. But if I want a real W, I'll do this. Yeah. I guess that's kind of working. All right, that's probably enough. Okay, so you probably noticed. Well, yeah, let's do the basic things because I actually have a key binding for bringing up the nerd tree plugin, and without it, I feel so disabled. So let's do that. I think you just do map leader or something. Map my leader key. Oh, let map leader. Okay, so I use comma as a leader key. If you're not familiar with leader, leader is kind of like the a control key for normal mode. So you don't have to hold it down while press another key. Instead, you press this key and in a short interval, you type some other key. Then Vim actually interpret that as one command. And the great thing is you can combine it with other, you can kind of build up your key bindings from there. Nerd tree. Yeah, so this is the binding I use for nerd tree. Yep. So now I just press comma A, and that brings up nerd tree. All right, so very quickly, I guess the need just sorted itself out because I have another key binding leader space. Leader space is no, I believe no H means no highlight or something. Let's look. No HL search. All right, fair enough. Okay, so now I can de-highlight the word I just highlighted very quickly. Again, this is just muscle memory. I really don't think about it until I can do it, and that's when it becomes visible. Now, before I move on, though, I kind of want to think about whether I want to just like pile my key bindings like this, or maybe it's better to somehow organize it like so. Will this work? Will this be a little weird? So this kind of groups my plugin, the fact that I need the plugin, and the configuration of the plugin together. That might be nice. Let me just put here. Okay. So this might be the best way to do it. I say I use this plugin and this is my customization for it. Whereas in my old settings, I would, list all the plugins I use and then have somewhere else in a random place there will be some settings for it. Maybe yeah. I'll go with a grouped approach. I kind of like it. Why not use X instead of WQ? Oh, I don't know. It's just habit. Like I've been using WQ for a decade and a half. So, yeah. The great thing about Vim is like there's so much in it. You just kind of keep picking up new habits, and keeping your old. For example, the new habit I started to pick up is use in insert mode. I started to use key bindings that requires a modifier key like Control X and Control A, I believe, that increases numbers. I hated those keys and refused to use them bindings because the whole reason I use Vim is so that I don't have to use the modifier key. But those are really handy when you're using them in combination with macros. So yeah. All right, so we are figuring out a few big important pieces like the organization of this. So that's really good. What's next? I guess for the next part, I want to work on Tmux, right? So I use Tmux, so I'm very very used to just bring up windows like this, a pane like this, and do some stuff, and and then whatever. I know that we have a built-in terminal with NeoVim, but I am not ready to give up my habit of using Tmux yet. The added bonus of Tmux is I actually use other machines, and I think Tmux and SSH sessions just goes well better. I don't know how that will go with the built-in terminal. Okay. I think I prematurely closed my Vim setting there. For this Tmux integration, the most important piece is this. All right. So Tmux interaction. That's not good. So I guess we probably should take a look at it, because it's been a while since I did that. Aha, that's another thing. I need to take care of the clipboard. How about just use Google? There we go. So this plugin is repackaging another plugin, from a gist. And yeah, it provides these key bindings to move from Vim, Panes, and Tmux seamlessly. So Tmux move to and from Tmux Panes and Vim Panes. So I guess I should do plug install. Oh, I should reload and then plug install. Okay, so now I can just Control L and H and L to go between these panes. I believe this also just works with Tmux now. So this is a new Tmux pane. Yep, so I can go use the same key that I moved between Vim panes to move between a Tmux session and other Vim panes. So this is really awesome. And in addition to that, hold on, my key binding for moving between Tmux also are the same. So for me, I never think about the distinction between these different kinds of panes now. So that's pretty awesome. I suppose I can show you, there's a little bit of things you need to do in Tmux to make that happen as well, which are these settings. Again, you can go to my .file to look at them. They essentially just say if your current if you're currently running Vim, in our case it's NeoVim, but we are using grep to recognize the command, so the NeoVim will also be, NVim will also be recognized. If your Tmux pane that's running Vim, then send this Tmux command for this key binding. So that's how you can go from a Vim pane out to a different Tmux pane. Just realized, like, I habitually typed Vim here, so on the right you're seeing my Vim like color scheme and all that. That's funny. Okay. All right. So this makes me a lot happier. I wonder if I need to say something about the Tmux setting. There. All right. Yeah, this way, you know, when I go look at my .file NeoVim folder, you know, maybe someone else is looking at it, maybe it's me looking at it from a long time from now, to set up on a new machine or whatever. I have some good documentation to go from. Otherwise, you know, it's one thing that I really kind of dislike about Vim now is Vim you know, when I started using Vim, it's my settings very minimal. I was happy then, and all the things are self-contained. I remember a number of years in the beginning where I didn't use any plugin manager. I just go to Vim, I think was vim.org, and just grab things in there and throw it in there. That's in a way very nice because everything is written in Vim script. and it's self-contained, and you never need to change them, update them. And when you go to a new machine, you literally just copy that folder in, and you're done. But I guess over the years, I picked up other nice things, other nice tools, and I want to integrate them with Vim, like RG, FZF, and Tmux and things like this. And now setting up Vim on a new machine is a whole thing. You have to go out and download a bunch of things. You'll see. We'll do a lot of that today. Okay, so I can move from panes, between panes very happily now. But when I open a file, especially a Swift file, there's some attempt to highlight it, but it's not great. So I guess that's what's next. Well, this actually know by heart because I know Keith. Do you use vimawesome.com? No, I think I'm aware of it, but it came out way later than I started Vim, so yeah, I have my own set of things, and I set them up from scratch. I think it's probably it's a great thing because it makes it friendlier for beginners to use Vim, maybe. I think this is it for Swift syntax. Let's try. Plug install. No. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do syntax highlighting. Obviously, you just grab some syntax highlighting plugins, which is it's a certain type of plugin. Yeah, so I guess let's do the most important piece next. Let me just use my Vim plugin. Use this as a inspiration for what should come next. Yeah, we can do fugitive, highlightings. Vim gutter is an interesting one. How about airline? Yeah, airline is a nice one. Well, that's the wrong thing. Hey, that works immediately, right? Now I have to take a double take to realize this is NVim because like the bar on the bottom just reminds me of the Vim itself so much. I guess this is a really vague documentation though. Nice status bar. And I seem to have some settings here. Powerline fonts. Airline powerline Powerline fonts patched for Powerline users. Ah, so there's some symbols that that's kind of nice when you use certain fonts. Yeah, I don't use any of these fonts though. SF Mono is my jam. All right. I suppose I don't need the nice fonts. I mean, these symbols are pretty nice. These Unicode symbols. So. But does it actually do anything though? All right, so I don't use the font, so it should be irrelevant whether I enable or disable it. And I'm not seeing anything weird. It's not like because I'm lacking those symbols, anything looks bad. So I'll just leave this out. Yeah. Okay, now that we're on the aesthetics of things, how about colors? And one thing that's starting to annoy me is the fact that I have to type the closing quote. Yeah. So that's what this plugin does. Auto. Well, that's a fool's errand. How about auto pair? Oh, I already saw it. So I have a number of settings with it. Or just take it. So now let's see if I type quote, single quote. Oh, I haven't plugged plug install yet. Plug install. Okay. Type a quote. You'll notice that there's a close single quote that came with it. And if I type close quote again, instead of adding another pair or another two of those another one of those characters, it just jumps to the end. So this is pretty nice. I believe map space. This if I I know what I'm gonna add next. But if I don't have this setting, and then what this does is if I type quote, for example, and I type space, that's not what I think it does. Auto pairs map space. Let's read. Default is 1. It inserts a space after the opening character before the close one. Yeah, that's what I thought it does. Did I not properly save? Wait, that shouldn't matter though. So let's see. I type this. I type space. Wait a minute. Is that this setting? So multi-line close, I think, is if you have a pair like this and you type, your cursor's here, but you type close paren, if your auto line close is 1, it will jump lines and close it for you. I'm not totally against that, actually. Let me for now leave it on. But yeah, this setting though, I thought what it means is if you type, if you get auto close, right? Why is single quote not being closed? I think it's specific to the syntax of Vim. How about we switch to a Swift file? Okay. I mean, am I going crazy here? So what this supposedly disables is when you type a space, when you only have the close and opening symbols that it detects, you type space, it will actually add 2 spaces and leave you your cursor here in the middle. So I guess that could be nice if you follow certain coding style where you add spaces after your opening, say, bracket and the space before your close bracket, but that's not. I don't use that a lot, that kind of syntax a lot. So I'm just gonna assume this works. No extra spaces. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna need, because I already ran into it, is a nerd commenter. Wait, I haven't activated my color scheme yet, right? And what do you write to do that? Color scheme, right? Yeah, I just say color scheme, blah. And looks like there's 2 settings here. I think these are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm kind of hesitant to add more. This is also pretty self-explanatory, actually. Quickly cancel search highlighting. Yes, look at that. This is my favorite color scheme. I think this color scheme actually is a result of me trying out which is the editor that has this as a built-in color scheme? Is it TextMate? Anyways, yeah, I left that editor, but the color scheme never left me. Yeah, this looks so much better. Okay. Yeah, let's do nerd commenter, because I have another thing where I don't ever like manually comment lines. Instead I actually do I believe I do this and wait, what do I do? See, this is the problem with muscle memory. When you try to think it visually or type it out, you don't you don't really. Let me think. I think it's leader C or something, right? No, leader C is toggling my column limit. Wait. Wait, let me just use Vim real quick. So what did I type there? I typed leader C space. What? Uh-oh. Oh. I hope that's not persisting. Cannot find color scheme Molokai. Why though? Oh, this is the problem of, I bet it's because I'm using this setting before this line. So I can't group this setting here. I need to leave it somewhere later. That sucks. That makes me want to move all this away from. Is that why this doesn't have any effect? I need to think about this. So I can move this down here as well. No, this space kind of looks nice. No, they don't look nice. Okay. Is this the reason? All right, so now it doesn't complain about the missing color scheme anymore. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, so I don't need to do any special binding. I guess this is a built-in binding. So now I'm in NeoVim, right? Okay, I was in NeoVim. Yeah, just quickly type leader C space, and then things start to be commented. So if I comment this out and I reload this settings, now I type, all right, I officially don't know what that does. That's fine. Okay. Well, that also means I don't really need this, right? Okay. I think I have some special setting with how Swift is is supposed to be commented out by auto comment. What is that? Where is that? It's here. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. I want to make it clear that some of these settings are clearly associated with some of these plugins. So maybe some kind of header like this. Yeah, also these things, this type of variable may belong to the Swift specific setting. I can show you the effect of it. So if I open a Swift file, oops. See, you notice that by default it's using this type of comment style to toggle it. Wait. That doesn't seem to have any effect. Oh, is it because I haven't? I'm confused. Everything is installed. Is this how not how I source this file? Okay, I don't know why, but I guess the sourcing was not how it worked, how I remember it works. But you'll notice that with that setting, it's using 2 forward slashes to comment out Swift files, and that's what I want. Yeah, I need to think about this because there are certainly a lot of garbage in my Vim settings that really belongs to a specific file format. I just didn't care enough to change it, to organize it. So I think you need to do like a FT plugin. Is this the right folder? right directory. Yeah, FT plugging. So let's try that. So I do this. I make a file, swift.vim, and I move these guys here. Use for comments. Maybe even like this. Just to be safe, I'm gonna quit and restart. Wait, did I change some file here? Oh darn, that didn't work. By the way, thanks, Clipboard, for the advice. Do you know what's the right way to have file type specific settings? So this guy is talking about putting it in after FT plugging. I'm gonna try that. Okay, so that's in there now. Oh yeah, after worked. I guess that makes sense because after means, you know, after something. Okay. Thanks, Stack Overflow. Okay. So we'll use this file for file type agnostic settings. All right. What's next? How about my list things? This guy. Yeah, I think this is pretty boring, so I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Like, I use so percent to try to load this file, but sometimes it just didn't work. But apparently this time it did work, because you'll see like now there's a character to indicate the end of line character. And if I manage to type or open a C, a tab, a file with tab, which, Y, you'll see like the triangle, little triangle to indicate it. Oh yeah, this is good. Mouse, yeah, easy win. Now I can click. I think without this, does NeoVim automatically enable? Wait, really? That's pretty cool if that's the case. So wait, that doesn't look right. Hold on. Wait, this is Tmux, right? So I'm scrolling and it's toggling the Tmux scrolling. So if I enable this and I scroll, okay, yeah, it does something. It scrolls, yeah, all right. I need it. Great. I guess while we're here, might as well. This is a nice one. This actually is a very tiny plugin, but I really love it. So highlight trailing white space, and it does exactly that. This is annoying. Stop. Yeah, I really need to figure out the clipboard situation. Now this right pane is in a different buffer, and suddenly I can't yank and paste normally. That's really annoying. Sorry, just pouring some coffee here. All right, just for now. Yeah, there's so many good. I use a very few. I don't know if this is a lot of plugins I use, but some of them are syntax highlighting, so I don't really consider them as plugins. That made me curious. Can I call this multiple times? And if I can, should I move like file format plugins into their own groups? Let's try. So begin, end, begin, end. What happens if I do this? Oh, nothing good, huh? Then plug. post update hooks. All right. I don't see any way to actually do what I want. Okay, we'll stick to doing this. What was I doing? Trailing white space, right? Okay. So that's not being highlighted. Vim trailing white space. But you see, like I did SO%, which should load this file. And the plugin I have is not being, it's supposed to highlight these spaces. If I quit the file and come back again, or maybe this is just not working then. That would be sad. A more complete alternative is at this. This plugin causes all trailing whitespace characters to be highlighted. Whitespace for the current line will not be highlighted while in insert mode. It's possible to disable blah blah blah. Helper function is strip whitespace, also providing the clean thing blah blah blah. So this looks just like the other one. To set a custom highlight, okay, so you can set a custom highlighting color. Great. Stripping white space unsafe. Fancy. I never do that, but good to know. And you can enable disable it. Maybe I'll use this one. You can disable it for certain file types. Better whitespace file type blacklist. I mean, there's no sense to blacklist it if you don't automatically do things to your file, right? Hopefully. Okay, nice. There it is. You saw that, right? Yeah, there's the ugly trailing white space. And I actually have a key binding to automatically strip them. I'd like to keep doing that. Fix white space or something like that. Yeah. So I think the this is a different command for this plugin. Strip Whitespace instead of fix. So there's a white space, and if I type leader F, it's gone. Leader F. I don't remember why is leader F. This is so weird because like when I use it, I never think about it. And now that I see what it actually is, my brain is starting to tell me, no, it must not be that. It's wrong or whatever. Well, while we're here, let me just tell you a little secret or confession. I don't use escape. So this is what I do. Replace. So if I accidentally press F1 on the keyboard, that, you know, sometimes it's inconvenient in the escape places, use escape instead. If I do Control C, which already have the same effect of escape, but I forgot that distinction is not totally escape, it's some kind of legacy stuff. So do really escape. If I already in normal mode and I press Control C again, so you can imagine after typing something in insert mode, I'll just Control C out to normal mode, and then I simply repeat that. Now the file is saved. I forgot why is not write all. Can I do write all? Yeah, so there's like a million little things like this. For example, cursor line, I'd like to have so that I know where I am in a pinch. Ruler is good. Cursor line. Yeah, so the entire line where the cursor is highlighted. Ruler. Show the line and column number of the cursor position separated by a comma. When there is room, the relative position of the display text on the right, top right, 45%. Ruler format. I have no idea when or why I turned this on, but okay. Aha, leader F stands for fix, I bet. Backspace, yeah, I like this. I won't demonstrate all of this. Some of them are like obvious, some of them are too subtle, and I feel like if I've demoed everything, I won't have enough time. Auto write is good. I think it's like it saves stuff. read the content of the file if it has been modified on each next rewind last. Yeah, so if I can move or make, yeah, I can jump between files, and then when I do that, the file gets saved. Save file when moving buffers. Something like that. It's not totally accurate, but tab settings, yeah. So I use spaces by default. There's not much story there. Some file types have customized settings, but we'll get to there. Auto read is also good. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Better movement for wrapped lines. Better vertical movement. So GJ and GK will enable when you have a super long line. Like this. I don't know. It's just the best way to make a long line. And so without that setting, if I type J now, I'll go to the next line. But that's kind of bad because sometimes you want to really edit visually the next line instead of the physically the next line, because you rarely want to do that. Yeah, so if I source this file now, you'll see like when I type J, I actually do GJ, which moves me between these lines. So that's what that is. Okay. Diff option, I'm sure is something with Git. All right, I'll get to this later. Clipboard. I don't know if this is all that's needed to use to share with OS 10 Clipboard. Is this it? So now if I go here and copy some text and I use P, okay. Now if I yank this text, come back, paste, nice. So that's it. That's pretty nice. Auto indent, undo file. I mean, these are just good stuff, right? Like there's no reason not to use them. Auto indent, undo file. Undo file. Return the name of the undo file that would be used for a file with name. This uses undo dir. Finding directory exists, does not check it out. Wait, really? So I go back to this file, I press U, I cannot undo. Maybe it's because I didn't source it earlier. So now let's add a new line, save it, undo, new line's gone, redo, leave the file, come back, undo. What did that do? Okay, so now I can undo. What if I don't have this setting? Undo will undo this setting. Undo. Okay, so that is what that is. That is what it does. You need this in conjunction with this. Really? Maybe NeoVim has better sensible default here. Nope, you need both. Okay. What was it? Set undo there. Auto indent. Undo function after reopening. That's pretty clear, actually. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of things here. Yeah, this is a good one. My concern right now is these things just it's really messy. I will group them. Like key bindings and settings should be in their own separate sessions unless it's related to a certain plugin. Let's see. Let's think about this. I don't know, what's a good visual marker to distinguish them? Wait, is this what that is? Hold on. Auto pair something. This is kind of annoying. So right now, if I type exit, since I deleted the line of comment, it's getting replaced by this, where it's kind of smart, but it's unexpected for me. Like in addition to deleting this double quote, it will also delete a new line because it can, I guess. Oh yeah, and this problem is here as well. Yeah, so if I type a single space, boom, I get 2. I mean, it's nice in some scenarios, but I never got used to it. So yeah, this is why I had these over here. What do I call it? Nerd commenter or something, right? Nerd commenter. I don't know if these will achieve what I want. So let's test it. Let's load this. I'll type a double quote here, delete. Yep, it just deleted the double quote instead of doing the extra stuff. And if I type open bracket, space, dang it. Why? I thought that's what that is. Hold on. Okay, so for some reason I need a reload for that. All right. Don't be too smart, cross lines. Don't insert extra spaces. I don't know if these comments make sense long term, but sticking to it. Okay, anything else? This is interesting, the .swap files. I don't know if NeoVim does the same annoying thing. So I am working in PWD. Okay, I'm working in this directory. Does it have a .vim blah blah blah? It doesn't. Nice. So that's one less comment, one less setting I need, which is sort of also expected, you know, sensible default and all that. Okay. Backup der, undo der, scroll jump. Right, scroll jump right now is linear. In Vim, I use a 15-line jump. Do I like that better? I guess it's faster, right? Syntax on, I don't need this anymore. Nice. Ruler, cursor line, already have it. Encoding. Wait, what is my encoding? Is this how you look at it? Always use UTF-8. file encoding. Yeah, I don't think I need this. So I use arrow keys. I never. So instead of just not mapping them or use the default value, I actually do this. I actually use them to switch tabs, but I also never use tabs. I guess it doesn't hurt in case. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I never use tab, so you can make an argument that I don't need the settings anyways, but it doesn't hurt me. Use arrow keys to switch. Wrap. Wait, how do I look at it? Is it set wrap? Something like that. So set text width 78 is the default, and I use 110 as default. Don't ask me why. Format options. Blah 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 blah. All right, doesn't hurt to. This is a sequence of letters which describes how automatic formatting is to be done. See FO table. When the paste option is on, no formatting is done. Okay, let's look at this. You can use how to format text. Auto wrap, blah blah blah. So I use QRN1. Q. R. Automatically insert the current comment leader after hitting. Yes. N is recognize the number list. So 1, 2, 1 after 2, whatever. But what the default value is format options. It has Q, it doesn't have N. It has R, but it also have J. J, when it makes sense, remove a comment leader when joining lines. Yes, I would like that. What is 1 though? Wait, I thought there's a separate setting for joining lines. So I actually have 2 spots where I set this setting. Interesting. So this, first of all, is separate from comment limit. So I definitely want J. And yeah, I set it in 2 places. All right, I do have another thing that has something to do with text width though. So sometimes I do use 180 text column. So I actually have a function that toggles it. Yeah, so it's just a function. It toggles a global variable. It starts with 1, and then when you call it, it becomes 0, and then it becomes 1 again. You call it again, and then I bind it to a key that calls this function. So yeah, so after loading the new setting, you'll see, first of all, there's a highlighted line limit. But if I do C, yeah, you'll see it toggles between the 110 limit, which is my usual limit, and 80 in case sometimes, you know, a lot of times actually, 80 is the default for some projects. Okay. Cool. Or at 120 lines, where the old has 240. And I think we're set ink search. I think this is already on. Yeah, so I don't need to set either of this. That's great. No smart case. Okay. Ignore case, smart case. Yeah, searching. I like this. All right. This is what I was missing. So with these settings, when I search, first of all, it automatically inserts the /v, \v, and then I can start my search with case insensitive search. So I just type lowercase plug, and you will notice that all the plug, regardless of being uppercase or lowercase, is being highlighted. But I believe as soon as I type a uppercase letter, then the syntax sensitivity kicks in. So if I do start with the uppercase P, you'll notice that only the exact sensitivity match is highlighted. So that's definitely a win. So I have this guy where I can toggle the pen widths, but as far as I can remember, I never use it. So I'm just gonna leave this out. I also have these functions that runs NeoMake, but I actually don't do that a lot neither. Yeah, let's just add more stuff. Sorting is good. Sort stuff. Sort lines. Thing. Alphabetical order. So this is super useful. This is one of my superpowers compared to, I don't know. I actually don't have a lot of things to sort here. How about, which file can I demonstrate this? Constants. All right, let's see what happens. So if I load this setting, highlight a bunch of files, lines, and leader S, yeah, some of them got sorted, right? Yeah. So this is super useful when you need to, like when you have a project, for example, that requires you to sort certain part of the file, for example, like a list of dependencies or a list of imports. It's trivial to sort them. Obviously, you can do some kind of like commit hook or use an external tool to do that, but you know, Vim can do that as well when you need it. So that's pretty nice. That reminded me, so after I make this change, usually the way I know something changed is through a gutter, and I don't have that right now. And that's what I need next, I guess. So let's open this. Was it Git gutter? Git gutter? Yeah. Show git stuff in gutter. It's kind of redundant, but I like to have the consistency of always having a comment. So I don't have anything special for it. Okay. All right, so plug install. Nice. Yeah, so now I can see on the side the changes. Yeah, that's what I like. Some people also use this kind of thing in conjunction with line numbers. You'll notice that I don't use line numbers. I used to use relative line numbers and both and either one of them. And yeah, it just kind of evolved, like grew out of that, because I find that occasionally it's useful, but most of the time I can type line number G and go there, and that's all I care about, line number. And usually I get that line number, I know where I need to go because some tools told me, like a compiler tell me, go here. And you'll see actually that's even rarer than you'd think, because of error format and Quickfix. You'll see. I'll get there. So yank, highlight yank is nice. Okay, so what that does is, let's say I decide to yank this, you'll notice that it's got highlighted, right? But the highlight also goes away after a certain period, which the default is fine. I suspect there's a way to customize the period as well if you want to, but that's good enough for me. I won't need to use NeoMake. I don't think I'll need it. Tabular, I don't really want to use it. Ack is nice. I'm gonna need Ack. Surround, it's a super awesome plugin, but in reality, I never use it, so I'm gonna leave it out for now. fugitive, I will gladly use it. Even though I most of the time use git command directly. Yeah. While I'm here, I'm just gonna do all the useful ones all together before I test them out, because I know I need this. Plugin FZF. Yeah. So yeah, FZF is a fuzzy finder written in Go, and it's super awesome. I use it in the command line and within Vim. And what's super awesome about it is, like, with this plugin, it kind of just works. So there's really not much to say. It really improved the experience of fuzzy finding in Vim by like a lot, really. So my key binding is Control P. Some of you may be able to guess why that is, because there's an older plugin that's called Control P that does similar things. All right, let's install all the things, and if I just type FZF, that'll open FZF, and I can just start. Well, you'll also notice there's some settings. I already have global settings for it, so I can type like write or whatever, and the result gets automatically filtered. And I just, if I type enter, that'll open the file that I selected. And with my key binding, so instead of doing that, I can do Control P as well. So that's pretty nice. Which made me realize that this window is too big. So I must have some setting to control it. Let me guess, a percent sign, a literal percent. Nope. I don't know. All right. Quickly insert timestamp. So I need this when I write blogs, and I need a blog timestamp for my blog metadata, for example. I just type TT and I get a, what you call it, ISO 8601 timestamp, or RFC 333 9 timestamp. Yeah, it's actually both because the second one is the subset of the first one. So that's that. Enough said. I mean, these are just good, but I'll get to it later. Let's just look at the list of plugins I still need to add before I start on LSP stuff. Okay, fuzzy finder. Oh, that made me realize a thing. I probably want to condition this, guard this. How do you do that? It's like I have this. Okay, so if you have FZF, then do that. Otherwise, don't do that. Right? That's what I want. So, okay, I have FCF, so that works. If I don't have it, then at least nobody will complain, I hope. Speaking of, I also have RG. And I use it in conjunction with the ag.vim thing. Ah, I saw it. Okay. So with ag.vim, it's just a little bit nicer than running like grep directly, because it's I know there's a grep PRG or something where you can customize grep, but there's a number of limitations when you use it. I cannot remember all of it, but yeah, the point is I use ag.vim to replace grep. I think ag does better job of putting things in Quickfix or something. Could be wrong. It's grep PRG, right? All right. Just take this. Put this here. So if I have RG installed, I will map leader R in both visual mode and normal mode. Okay. So install that plugin. Now I do this. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, so this will invoke command ag exclamation mark. Then I can type in whatever I want to search, for example, the word right. What will happen is it will open the Quickfix window and find all the occurrence of the word right. And then I can just enter to jump to there. So it's kind of nice search replacement. Oh, speaking of, this reminded me. This is fine. want to test something out. So I select this word. Wait, and leader R. No ranges allowed. Right? No ranges allowed. Yeah, remember this. So, wait. That means, first of all, close that. That means this is ineffective. All right, that's fine. I never use it anyways. So this led me to an important key binding that I'm still missing. Now that we started to look at leader. Yeah, this guy. Actually, the comment is wrong. It's toggle Quickfix. So let me demo. Load the setting. Now I do leader. So this is handy if you have a command that brings up results in Quickfix, and you're done with it, and you just leader, and now it's gone. And I can briefly explain how it works, but it literally just looks at if you have a nameless buffer. If you find it, that means it's the Quickfix window, and you just call close. Otherwise, you call copen. That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna need this as well. This is another secret weapon. Secret weapon. And I'm gonna group it with Fugitive because it used to be part of Fugitive. And what it is, well, I guess I need to install it first. All right, it's installed. So I can, if I now highlight some line and then I say gbrowse for this range, I get a link to GitHub and with the line highlighted, and now I can share this URL to whoever. So this is super convenient if you want to point at some lines of code to someone else. And you know, when you work in a team environment, that is a critical utility that you need. All right, we got egg, tabular. See, never use this, so fine without it. Toml, I mean, this syntax highlighting, I'll get to them later because they're just dumb things. We have a Rust plugin, the official one, like why not? Tab bar, like I stopped using ctag, but I guess I never removed it. I used to have a key binding to toggle it on as well. I think I got rid of that. Yeah, Toml, Go. Yeah, let's do them all. So there's Go, Tamil, Rust, Protobuf, which I work with at work. I guess that's it. Everything else is built in or whatever. Okay. Yeah, these are easy. There's nothing to do with them. So, other than to install the plugins. Okay. All right, the end is 9. I think I've got most of the things I want. Leader. Yeah, I need this. Show git status. Well, it's more than show because you can do stuff with it as well. But at least it just calls gstatus, which is part of Fugitive. This is a fun one. Okay. Make workflow. So one thing that I guess one gap that you may say using Vim and using versus of using IDE is that you in IDE there's settings like they're usually like a workspace, and then you usually work with some kind of scheme, build scheme or solution or whatever you want to call it, where you perform a certain task repeatedly, whether it's like running an app, building an app, running some test. And in Vim, the way, I mean, at least the way I have come to used to is to use the make PRG. So in Vim, you can run make, and the default behavior for this command is it will go to your current working directory and look for GNU make files. And if it finds it, it will just run the default make target from that file. But you can use this make PRG variable to customize the behavior of the make command. So what I do now is here, leader B. So I have come to a workflow where I use a key binding to quickly customize this. For example, I can run like make test, right? So I have a make file. So in there's a target called test. And now I have saved a new make PRG, make program. And I can type leader B, which will do a bunch of stuff, but eventually it will get to running the make command for me. So instead of taking make, well, if I run make now, it will run the test instead of doing the whatever default is. I don't know how long this will take. Hopefully not too long. All right. Oh, that's unfortunate. Anyways, as I can also hit leader B, so pneumatically, that's basically build, if you will. The reason I chose it is because Xcode also uses like Command B or whatever. So in that case, in that output, if something is wrong, if there's a test failure or whatever, it will show up in Quickfix, and I can jump there and edit immediately. Yeah, so that's why I also have a C close here, because it's a no op if your Quickfix window is closed, but if it is open, it will close it first. And then it also clears the terminal, which is nice. Yeah, things like that. Okay, what else? Let's see efforts here. All right, let's do a check. So I have 179 lines, but each line hopefully has some kind of comment to explain it, which is pretty good. I'm gonna add some new lines here. It increasingly makes more sense to separate them, because this kind of group emerged. All right. All right, I guess there's nothing more left to do other than start the LSP setting. How long have I been live? 2 hours. Wow. Yeah, let's do LSP. So LSP is the main reason I want to switch to NeoVim. And I also made a choice of using it exclusively as opposed to in conjunction with some other mechanism to provide things like jump to definition and things like that. So there's obviously LSP is a kind of recent technology. And before that, there have been many solutions for autocomplete, type checking, syntax, smarter syntaxy stuff for programming languages that works within Vim. A lot of LSP clients are formerly one of those older solutions, and they now just kind of, I don't know, they're in different places. Some of them supports like both the old stuff and new stuff. There's also new pure LSP things emerging as well. But I made a conscious solution to only use LSP for that kind of stuff, and any kind of old stuff I'll leave out for now, unless like, I don't know, some of the stuff can be really good. If I remember correctly, there's a bunch of Haskell, linter, hlint is pretty good. I don't know if you can use that via LSP, but if I can, I'll use LSP. Otherwise, I may make an exception for that. But today, though, since I'm using Swift as the proxy for success, I'll just do LSP today. So Vim LSP is, I guess, is the plugin of choice. Let's look at it. Alrighty. So it supports both Vim 8 and NeoVim. So I guess we are just going to use these. Language. server. And for NeoVim, there's a very nice plugin, I believe, called NCM2. Slim, fast, hackable completion framework for NeoVim. So this is pretty nice. It so LSP supports, supplies the source for, language specific things. And NCM is the part that actually provides autocomplete, like type, autocomplete as you type and surfacing the errors and stuff like that. And yeah, it also, this plugin also, like, I guess, treat Vim 8 as a second class citizen, which is, whatever. And it's asking us to install two things. What is Vim Yarp? Vim Yarp. Yet another remote plugin framework for NeoVim. All right. So it has a bunch of requirements. NeoVim has to be a certain number, a certain version. That's fine. I think I already did this before, but you need to install some Python 3 package for it. Echo has Python 3. We have that, so I don't need to worry about that. All right, so everything's installed. So for this plugin, there's a bunch of stuffs to do. Oh yeah, you need to install completion sources. Yeah, this is still this is the missing piece. Okay, let's go to the wiki. Yeah, so we still need this guy, NCM Vim plug. So the NCM plugin only deals with surfacing data for autocomplete and stuff like that. It doesn't care whether where the data come from. So you need a plugin to tell it, hey, actually, please surface data from our LSP. So that's what this plugin is for. What's interesting is the instruction here doesn't include any of these two. Does that mean I don't need them? Everything looks good. All right, let me put in my Swift LSP here temporarily. And let's source this file. Now let's go open some Swift source files. And let's type self dot. Nothing's happening. Great. Awesome. close it, reopen it. Nothing's happening. Okay, so probably we'll still need this. It's not happening. Okay, probably need all of this then. Oh no, nothing is happening. That's not good. Oh wait. We're seeing the errors. Okay, that's good. Why is there no autocomplete? Oh, I know why. There's like a setting we need to do. This one. So it wasn't enabled. And what's the other one to recommend? Oh, this is pretty interesting too. Without this, you'll have trouble deleting code because as you delete the code, the cursor will move to a position such that it will try to autocomplete for you again, and the result is you kind of just cannot delete the code because every time you delete a character, it will automatically fill back in to whatever it can find, and usually if it's a unique match, then you're screwed. Okay, and they also have some things here, like these are not unique to this plugin. It's just for the Palm visible menu. I don't really use tabs. This is okay though. This is good. This supposedly is pretty good. I don't know why they have an indentation for all this stuff. It's weird. Okay, let's try again. Go to glob, go to the bottom, type self dot. Yes! Nice. Glorious. Okay. All right, move this. So yeah, these are Swift specific settings. Let's hope that didn't break anything. Yep, everything still works. There's another thing that I just noticed, but I forgot what it's called. I suppose I'll add these LSP settings here as well, even though don't really use them. LSP hover, jump to definition, doesn't hurt to have. Yeah, these specific things. I force map a few file types. I'll leave them here, I guess. But these ones really don't belong here. They should be down in their FT plugin file. Okay, what is it that I want to do. It's I forgot what this is called, but god darn it. All right, include markdown stuff, I guess. And then oh, this, yeah. This style I don't like. I'll deal with it. What is this? Vmap backslash to do either align. Oh. First of all, yeah, this is for aligning tables. Align. All right. So I'll add that. Now this will work. I never use folding in Vim. I don't know if it's something I need to start doing. Okay. Suppose do this. Oh, something bad is happening. Detected while processing. Not editor command. Please. All right. Plug. Install. Beautiful. Okay, I think I've got a lot of stuff. Oh, Wildemenu. That's what it was. Wildemenu. Wild mode. There's a new thing for NeoVim regarding this, but it's in head, so maybe I shouldn't use it. But this looks really nice. This Wildemenu style. Oh, please, Twitter, such garbage. This looks really nice. palm blend. Set palm blend. Dang. Okay. Right now it's called fall, and I use this thing called list. What does list do? So if I do e config NeoVim tab. Yeah. But wait, something's broken. My subsequent tab is doing nothing. That's not good. So if I do that in Vim, config NeoVim tab, it's doing nothing. Sources, pathos. I don't like that though. List. I want it so bad. But I don't want to use a head. I use Vim so much that I want stability. Okay. Completion mode that is used for the character specific with wildcard is the commensable list of 4 parts. Fall, longest fall. List fall. Complete first fall match, next match, etc. The default. Longest fall. Complete longest common string, then each fall. Yeah, I like that. List fall. List all matches and then complete each fall match. So I definitely want longest. List fall. Let me just try these out. Oh, it doesn't do list anymore. That's not good. Um, Interesting. What's the point of showing all these options? I guess you can start typing and then it will show the candidates and you can refine it that way, or you can just keep tabbing it. Interesting. What if I also add this? Complete longest. Nice. This is what I want. Oh, sorry. That was a lot of experiment, but yeah. So this documentation is actually pretty good, but with list longest comma for, what will happen is when you have a ambiguity, first of all, when you hit tab, it will list all the candidates that matches your current input. You hit tab again, it starts to fill in selecting the actual candidate, and then yeah. So again, tab lists all the candidates. So if you have some narrower candidates, you can do tab again or show you, and then you can tab among them. Yeah, and that will actually select it. But here's the interesting part. If you're, say I start with the letter P, then in addition to showing the matches, it will actually complete the longest common prefix that it can find for among all the candidates that matches the original input, and actually fill in that part. And if you keep tabbing, then it starts to autocomplete. So that's really nice. List candidates in Wildemenu. After tabbing, second tab will trigger complete longest common part in matches. Tabbing again will trigger selection among the matches. Nice. Okay. I get the feeling that, okay, we're at 225 lines. And at least for Swift, I think this is at a good place. Uh-oh. Wait. Why isn't it working? Why is not the NCM and LSP working? It's enabled. Huh, interesting. So the setting for OmniFunc seems to break. I mean, I don't really care for that. All right, we're good. Okay, I think I'm ready to use NeoVim. Let's do the final step. I also mentioned this in the beginning. We will alias. Actually, I already have an alias. How about wow, that's a big step. That's a big step. Is this the right way to comment? Fish? Fish shall comment. Yep, okay. There's still something missing. uh, nice. That's what's missing. All right. No. Okay, we've done it. When I type Vim, I'll be using NeoVim. And that's that. Awesome. Thanks very much for watching. And I think I'm going to turn off the stream now. See ya.